Hello class, this is a short video so I can tell you how the application problems from the exam were supposed to be solved in case you have doubts. And so let's start. So problem 28. The length of a rectangular swimming pool is 2 yards more than 2 times the width. The area of the pool is 144 square yards. Find the dimensions of the pool. Okay, so in this one, you had to do something like this, something very close to this. So this is your pool. Okay, and they tell you that the length, let's suppose that this is the length, and this is the width, like that. And, well, you should have written this length, and then with W width. Remember, you have to always declare your variables. And they tell you that the length is 2 yards more than 2 times the width, and that's expressed in this way. Two yards more than 2 times the width, like that. And you know the area of this thing, and the area is 144. So how can I express that as an equation? I can express that in this way. The area of this pool, of this rectangle, is base times height. And since the base is length and the height is W, then L times W should be equal to 144. And then replace this for for L. I have this. Okay, and this is the equation that you should have written. This is the equation. Now, there's a little problem with this exercise, and that is that the solution to this equation involves the knowledge of quadratic equations, which we have not, well, in my case, I have not taught you that, and at this point in the exam, we have not seen this yet. And because you get the following, look, 2w squared plus 2w equals 144, and you're not supposed to know how to solve this yet. So if you got to this point at least, or at least this, if you have written this equation or this, any of these two things, the problem should be correct. Okay, so that's about it. That's all I need to say about problem 18. Okay, so you didn't have to solve it, the whole thing, just arrive at these equations. Next, 29. This one, I think most people got it either wrong or partially wrong. So you still get confused about this. So how does this one work? We did this one in class, guys, and this is one of the problems from Math Excel. So it says Luis Nunez begins walking at a rate of 2 miles per hour. Okay, so I'm gonna say the following. Remember, in here I should write my fact or something like that. The speed of Luis is equal to 2 miles per hour. And then 30 minutes after he leaves, his wife Christine realizes that Luis has forgotten his wallet. Christine gets on her bicycle and begins riding at a rate of 12 miles per hour. So the speed of Christine will be 12 miles per hour along the same path that Luis took. Question A, how long will it take for Christine to catch Luis? Okay, remember guys that this problem involves the formula speed equals distance. No, sorry. Distance equals speed times the time. Okay, we have to use this formula, and we have to say this: the distance that Luis covers is equal to the speed of Luis times the time of times the time, okay, that he has spent traveling, and the distance that Christine travels is equal to her speed times t minus 0.5. Okay, why do we make this little change to the time? Because she leaves 30 minutes after Luis. T represents the time that starts at the point in which Luis starts walking. Okay, you can imagine that this is a clock that gets turned on at the time he leaves the house. You see, this is a time with reference to Luis. And if I want to use it for Christine, I need to add this, okay, minus 0.5. Why minus 0.5 and why not minus 30? A lot of people wrote minus 30. Well, because it says 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You have to translate that into hours, which is minus 0.5, which is the way we did it in class. Why? Because the speeds, this speed and this speed are given in hours, miles per hour. So you're managing hours. You cannot mix two units in the same problem. If you're gonna use minutes, that's fine, but you have to convert this to minutes. How many miles per minute? How many miles per minute? And if you do that, then you can put minus 30 in here. Otherwise, you have to transform this into hours, and this would be the correct equation for Kristen. Okay, next, what you do is you replace the speeds, the distance that Luis covers is equal to his speed, which is 2, times the time, and then the distance that Kristen covers, which is equal to her speed, which is 12, times the time minus 0.5, like so. So these are the respective equations, and basically what this means, um, catching Luis, Christine catching Luis means that both have covered the same distance, and therefore I have to make this equal to this, because at that point, at the point Christine catches Luis, the distances covered are the same. So basically, I need to do this. Okay, like that, and therefore I solve this equation. Then this is 6 equals 10t, and finally time equals 6 over 10. 6 over 10, which is 0.6. What units? Hours, because remember time is given in hours. So it's 0.6 hours. At what, how long will it take Christian to catch Luis? 0.6 hours. But remember, this t represents the time for Luis. Okay? How much is 0.6 hours in minutes? That's going to be 36 minutes if you transform it. Okay, so whether you wrote 36 minutes, or because this is with the time with respect to Luis, or the time with respect to Christine, which would be 6 minutes after she left, both are fine. Okay, either of these two solutions is fine. And then finally, B, how far from their house will Christine catch Luis? Well, now what you have to do is put this value into, well, no, this one, I'm sorry, this value into, let's say, this equation, the equation for Luis. So the distance of Luis is equal to his speed times its time, which is 36 minutes. Well, I need to write it in hours, 0.6, and therefore this is going to be equal to 1.2 miles. So this is the second question. This is question A, and this is question B. And that's how you solve it. We did this problem in class, remember. Okay, this one was very easy. Some people got it wrong because of the following. Problem 30. The sum of two consecutive numbers is 37. Find those consecutive numbers. A. Write the algebraic equation used to solve the problem. In this case, guys, you should have written the following. Uh, the first integer, well, the first number, and the second number can be represented in this way. X, and if this is the first number, the consecutive number to this one should be written as x plus 1. Okay, a lot of people just wrote another variable for this other number, for example y, and that's not gonna work. Let me tell you why in a moment. So with these two representations for each of the numbers, then we can do this. The sum of them is x plus 1. That is the sum of both consecutive numbers, and that has to be equal to 37. And that's it. You see, you get a linear equation with one variable. You solve it. 2x plus 1 equals 37, and then 2x equals 36, and therefore x equals 18. Okay, therefore this is the first number. 18 is the first number, and the consecutive number will be 19 because the consecutive number is x plus 1. So there you go. These are the two numbers. If you did this, if you wrote, okay, the equation is x plus y equals 37, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. But the problem is that, remember, you cannot solve an equation with two variables, a linear equation with two variables. You cannot solve this. The people that wrote this and then went, okay, what two consecutive numbers can give me 37? They started to do some sort of guessing. Okay, you went like, I'm sorry, you went like, okay, this could be 18, and therefore if this is 19, then we get 37. Okay, then the answers are 18 and 19. Yes, those are the answers, but you're not using this equation, like you're not using any like process like this one. You see, can you see the difference? In order to solve the equation, you had to guess these two numbers. In this case, I'm not guessing, I'm just following the procedure in order to solve for x. And once I have x, I can discover also the consecutive number. You see, and in here you had to guess these two numbers. That's why I gave half a point to the people that did this process. It's not entirely wrong, but it's not entirely correct in the context of this problem. Problem 31. This one was also kind of a lot of people got it wrong. In each of the 12 classrooms of a school, there are 3 girls for every 2 boys. If the total number of students is 100, how many girls are there in the whole school? The correct way to do this is the following. Represent by G the number of girls in the whole school, and by B the number of boys in the whole school. Number of boys in school. Very few people did this that I've been teaching you. You have to do it, guys. You cannot assume that I know. If you just write B plus G equals 100, you cannot assume that I know what B and G means. If you don't tell me this, even though it's supposedly obvious, I cannot know. You have to do this. It's a must. It's not optional. That's what I want you to understand. So G is the number of girls in the school, B is the number of boys. Okay, what do we know about these two variables? How are they related? Well, we know that in the whole school is we have 100 students, therefore G plus B is equal to 100, and that's my first equation. And we also know that the ratio of girls to boys is the same as the ratio of 3 to 2. So G over B is the same as 3 over 2. This is my second equation. If you wrote these two equations like I just written them, you have to have the problem right. Even if I didn't check it right, tell me so I can put it correctly. But if you wrote these two equations, at least the problem is correct, even if you did not solve these equations. Now, how do we solve them? Well, remember, uh, take this equation with denominators and transform it into an equation without denominators. How? Multiply both sides by b, and after that multiply both sides by 2, and you will get this: 2g equals 3b. Okay, make sure about that. Make sure of understanding what I said. And this is still the equation 2, but transformed. Okay, and then play with 1 and 2. Okay, we have a system of 2 equations with 2 variables, and you can solve it. For example, I can take g in here in this equation. I can write g equals 100 minus b. You see, I'm isolating g in this equation, and then I'm gonna plug it into the other equation. Okay, it's gonna be 2 times g, which is all of this, equals 3b, and that's it. You just continue with the equation as normal, like so, and then 200 equals 5b, and then 200 over 5 is equal to b, and therefore the conclusion is that b equals 40. That's it. You see, it's a completely logical process. I'm not guessing anything. A lot of people just did the same. They just took guesses. They said, okay, the ratio is 3 girls to 2 boys for every 2 boys. Okay, and there are 100 students. Then if I say that they are 60 and 40, then, oh yeah, it's the same ratio. And you are right, but you are guessing. This is not exactly a mathematical process. You see, this is a mathematical process. So the number of boys is 40, and therefore, if I know that the number of boys is 40, then I just put it here, and that leads me to say that g has to be 60 after I solve the equation, right? So g is gonna be 60, and remember, what did g mean? The number of girls in the school, and that's it. I have solved the problem. And finally, the last problem was also very easy. Some people got confused in this one. Problem 32. Andrew is 5 years older than his brother Charles. If X represents Andrew's age, okay, then let me write that right away. X is equal to Andrew's age. Exercise A. Write an expression for Charles's age in terms of X, in terms of Andrew's age. So first, let me say that well, I can write C for the age of Charles. If I do that, C is gonna be Charles's age. And so Charles's age will be the same as Andrew's minus 5. Okay, if you just wrote this, that's okay, but because they're asking you for an expression, and I'm writing the whole equation. I'm saying that Charles's age is equal to Andrew's age minus 5. Okay, and then B, write an equation specifying that the age of Charles is 38. Well, let me just all I have to do is put 38 in here. 38 equals x minus 5. Solve the equation and find Andrew's age. Well, very simply, I just have to solve this very simple equation. 38 plus 5 equals x, and therefore 43 equals x, and therefore Andrew's age is 43, because that's what x means. It means Andrew's age. That's it, guys. You see, the problems were not difficult. I don't know if you ran out of time or something, but they were not really difficult. You did kind of good in the exam, but maybe not as good as I expected. Maybe just a little under my expectation, just a little bit. Okay, but you did well, and mostly in the multiple choice section, you did very well. So congratulations, and we are still doing relatively very well. Okay, so those are the answers, guys. If you have any questions about what I just said, ask me in the class, because I'm gonna be checking your doubts and concerns about this exam. And that's about it. So thank you guys.